اینم اون قولی که بهتون دادم. اومدیم خونه جک، قرار شد که به ما باقلوا رو یاد بده و من باقلواهاش رو خیلی وقت خوردم و اینکه دیگه باقی غذایا رو خودش بهتون میگه. جک؟
What? You want me to make baklava for you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, 200 gram of almonds, blanched almonds. 250 gram pistachio. I'm going to put them in the oven, 180 degree Celsius, 10 minutes. Just to get them a little bit brown, make the flavour a bit stronger, should be fine. In the meantime, I'll prepare the phyllo pastry. So I have some phyllo pastry sheets. They need to, I need butter. Melted butter. 250, no, 2, maybe about 200 gram of melted butter. Oh, and you have to remind me when 10 minutes is up. That's your job. 4 o'clock. Okay, next. Baklava needs a syrup. To make the syrup, cup of white sugar. One cup of water. Honey. I've got mixed blossom honey, but any honey's good. And there's some Arab honey that's absolutely fantastic, but I've forgotten its name. That's about 2 tablespoons. Now, and that has to boil for about 10 minutes until all the sugar's dissolved, and then there's a little bit more action that needs to happen with that. So the syrup, this is the sugar in the water. This needs to boil for about another 12 minutes, really light boil. And this butter is for the pastry, for the phyllo pastry. And it's almost ready. I'll let it rest for a tick while I wait for the nuts to finish roasting. Which is they only have to be in the oven for about, 10 minutes. And it's just to give them a bit of colour and make the flavour stronger. Okay, 10 minutes is up. Oh, look at that. Just a little bit of colour, not too, oh. Now, these need to cool down. So, and this is going to be messy. They look beautiful, guys. That colour's fantastic. And I'm a bit rough, so I don't care. So that needs to cool down. And once it's cooled down a bit, we're going to put it through the, what do you call that?
Which one?
No, the machine.
Grinder.
The grinder.
Grinder.
And we'll add some ground cardamom. Hell, yeah.
Bro.
I love that smell. And some brown sugar. Now, some brown sugar. I figure that because the syrup is so sweet, You do need to add a little bit of sweetness, but not brown sugar. Just gives it a little bit more of a warmer flavour, a bit of a toffee flavour. So we'll do that. So while that's cooling down, I'll start working the filet pastry. Sorry, you had to eat while you're making baklava. So I'm just kind of lining the heavy. It's got to be a heavy dish. I tried to do it in an tried to make baklava in an aluminium dish once, and it was terrible. So heavy dish is important. And you just kind of lie sheets. And you need to be a bit careful, but not too much. And then I've had a few Persians complain that I use too much butter in my baklava, so I'm trying not to use too much butter. But after each layer, you do need to put a little bit of butter on. That's a dud. And that's a dud. Oh, lucky you. Alright. I think because it's humid in Melbourne at the moment, that they're not separating very well. But it'll be fine. Baklava is kind of really easy to make. It's not hard. It's more engineering than craft. And this tastes fantastic. And and this I think should be enough. Like the original recipe that I used used 4 sheets. Now I'd probably put in 10 or 12 sheets, and it's fine. I'll feel like that should be all right. Now we need to fill this, and just thinking of the timing. We will do this, blend all this, grind all this. Check it, just to make sure. Come here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank God for grinders. Thank God for electricity. Thank God we didn't have to do that by hand, because it would have taken hours. Now, I'm actually going to do stuff to the syrup, which is that it's probably been boiling for maybe 10 minutes, and I'm going to put some saffron in the syrup. And this is it says, the recipe originally said 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I kind of don't think that's enough. Because saffron gives it a little bit of colour, some beautiful flavour. So that was probably, yeah, we'll leave it at that. And that's got to boil for another 5 minutes to kind of infuse the water with the syrup with the saffron. It smells pretty good too. All right. Oh, syrup that's been boiling with saffron for about 7 minutes. Look at that colour. Look at that colour. And then put it aside and then add the cold syrup. That's it.
Beautiful.
Okay. Now, the mixture, nut mixture, about just, and I just try to get about half of it on top of that first lot of filo pastry. And we start the filo pastry nightmare again. So, on top, the first sheet is always a bit difficult to spread the butter on, but what the heck. Beautiful. That's all right. It's not an exact science. And like life, you know, things sometimes just don't go to plan. I think this is going to be a good one. I always think that. Okay. And no, that's enough. And next layer. I'm not very good at halves. Oh. And I'm still grateful that I didn't have to grind those by hand. Oy. Okay. Next layer. Now, I think I'm going to make... No. Do one more. Now, I think I'm going to make this the top layer, so I won't have any folds in it. We'll see if that can happen. Just need to get a knife. Good sharp knife. rid of that off cuts. Okay. I kind of use a bit more butter on the top layer, just because the butter's going to make it, give it a good rich colour. And you just cut the top of the baklava, not too deep, but when it's cooked, this will make sense. And lengthwise. So these are the serving sizes that you're going to have for the baklava. And really you could do it, I do it, you know, because I come from English, Scottish stock. I'm not that imaginative, so, but you can do it like, you could do it crossways if you want. I'm not going to bother. That's ready for the oven. 30 minutes, 200 degrees Celsius. Inshallah. And now we have to wait. Let it cook. Alright, so it's been baking for, the baklava's been baking for about half an hour. Turn off the oven. Get the baklava ready. Now, with the syrup, about half of the syrup all over the baklava. Listen to that. I love that sound. It's the sound of joy and deliciousness. Okay, and back in the oven, which I've turned off for about 5 minutes. Okay, been in the unheated oven, which is still hot from baking, for 5 minutes. Inshallah, yeah, that looks alright. It's been darker, I've done it darker before, but, and you do the rest of the syrup on top of it to seep all through it. Oh, yeah. Now, you need to kind of let this rest for, you know, maybe a day or overnight at least. And to serve it, you just cut it through. Use a spatula to get it out. It's going to be fantastic too. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Inshallah.